Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the She Thinks Big podcast. And today's episode is part of a series, although the episodes may not be released one after the other. But in my brain, I am doing a little series on bold decisions and investing in yourself and your business. And we are talking about the kind of decisions and investments that really stretch you and challenge you to really ultimately shape the business and life that you're building. So joining me today is Laura Khesin, owner and society visionary of Society Beauty Bars, because there's plural. Yeah. And maybe even by the time this is released, there'll be another one, although it probably will not come to fruition in that sense, but it'll be in the brain at least. And Laura lives in the Boston area, and she really is kind of the epitome of style meeting strategy. And before I pressed record here, I complimented her because I really feel like in the 10 or so months I've known her, she does have a really high tolerance for risk and investing. And today we're going to dive into what that really means when you're the one making the call. I mean, including, decisions that are tens of thousands of dollars in properties, in coaching, in people, right? But I think her investments, at least from what I can tell so far, that's really what's helping her grow both as a leader and as a business owner. So welcome, Laura.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that intro. That was really exciting and fun. And I am looking forward to talking about all of this with you today.
Yeah, because you love talking about it too.
I do. I get really excited talking about taking on risk that will lead to furthering yourself in life.
Yeah, like she's in on it. She is in on it.
Exciting. Yeah.
All right. So take us back to the beginning. When you first started your business, what did it look like in the beginning? And what did you look like in the beginning? Not literally, but figuratively. Like what were you thinking at that point?
Okay. So I think part of this discussion actually is going to take us back even a little bit further, because my very beginnings and my very start of taking a really big risk on myself led to my business.
Okay,
actually.
Tell us.
It started in 2010 when I was 25, and I bought my first multifamily against what my friends were thinking I should be doing in an area that was very much up and coming. And so I didn't listen to anyone. I listened to myself and my dad, who told me to buy property as soon as I could. And I bought my first multifamily. Now it was awesome. So let's fast forward. And that led to some other decisions down the road, especially with real estate investing. But if we fast forward to my very first business in 2017, it was started because I refinanced my first property, pulled money out, and had this initial capital to build out my very first salon in 2017. I was 31, I think. I honestly can't remember, but I had 2 kids. I had 2 little boys, 3 and 1, basically. And I started my first rental salon. And that, so that actually helped me. The real estate that I bought in 2010 helped me financially be able to start a business without a technical loan from the bank.
Love it. So you started that business technically without a loan. Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
cool. Loved it. Yeah.
Love it.
I was happy about that.
Okay. And then walk us through the evolution. Walk us through what's happened next.
So I am always somebody who does something and then is like, what more can I do once I start getting comfortable? I get uncomfortable being too comfortable, I think. And I don't know if and when that'll ever change. I actually used to think that was a negative thing. I had concerns that I was too much. I was doing too much. And eventually at some point in my life, I gave in and was like, this is just who I am and I'm going to embrace it. Mm-hmm. So the evolution of my business. My first salon was a rental salon, which is different than what I currently own. I own 2 commission salons currently. And I think it was about 2 to 3 years in, I started thinking, what do I want to do? And what more do I want to do? And I opened a second rental studio with a partner. And that was a year old. So now I'm 4 years in. That was only a year old. The second business was a year old. And during an afternoon of what I call my dreaming time, where I'm sitting, sipping a coffee, usually on MLS. My husband's a realtor, so I have his MLS. I don't know, that might be illegal. But
no one's listening that knows about MLS,
okay,
but okay.
Great. So I'm looking at some real estate listings, and I see a salon down the street from me that's for sale. And so I begin ruminating on what that could look like for me and what ideas that was starting to come from it. And so I purchased the business, not the real estate. I just purchased the business and turned it into a commission salon, which is entirely different from the model that I had currently owned. So it was a whole new business for me. It was employees, it was payroll, it was education program, it was building assistants to become stylists. It was truly having the people that were going to be working for me and trusting me with their livelihood. So it was an entirely different business from my rental model, which essentially is a real estate business. I had the umbrella of the salon and people rented their space, their chair from me. And I offered support and mentorship, but really their business was up to them. So this was an entirely different business, and it required so much more of me, and so much I needed to become almost like a different person to provide this space for my employees. So it was December of 2021 that I purchased the business. And then January of 2022, we just hit the ground running and began renovations and whatnot. And I opened Society Beauty Bar, which was my first commission-based salon in Arlington. And so to kind of very quickly now speed you up, I dissolved one of the very first rental salon that I had due to immense building issues that I had no control over as a renter. And then I sold my second salon to my partner so I could strictly focus on this business that was requiring so much of my attention, and a business that I felt incredibly aligned with because I could support these stylists more. I could grow them more. And this business I felt had exponential potential.
So it's interesting that you said you had to become a different person.
Yes.
Right. So it's almost like investing in the society, what became Society Beauty Bar, right? That investment led you to invest in yourself in other ways because you had to figure new things out. Is
Absolutely.
that fair? Right? You had to figure new things out.
Yes.
And you had to, and it's almost like you take on a different persona too. So now you're not the woman who has the 2 rental salons, right? Now you're the one that has a commission-based salon, which is a whole other ball of wax.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So you invested in this new space, which eventually we named Society Beauty Bar. And through that process, that making that investment, all of a sudden you kind of had this new persona. And you probably, I'm going to guess, realized like, I don't know exactly what I'm doing here, but I'm going to figure it out.
Very much so.
Right? I'm going to figure it out. And then you had to invest in other things in order to make that first investment work.
Yes. So like the biggest switch for me moving into salon owner with, employees, and then a 2-time salon owner with 18 employees, I had to move into investing in myself in the business that allowed me to not just be the technician in my business, that allowed me to like no longer, the days are gone of me investing in myself as a hairstylist per se, of taking the technical education. I needed to invest in myself and my business so that we could grow. I could support my staff beyond technique, and I could support my business in a way that I hadn't had to before.
No. So, okay, that's a really good distinction here that I think all business owners, and I see this in my clients, a lot of times when they come to me, they're at that place where they realize this isn't really about the skill set anymore of the service or product that they're providing. Like, you've done that, check, you got that under control. Now this is investing in supporting the business. And I always like to say, let's picture our business as a human, right? So Society Beauty Bar is a human. We need to invest in it to keep it functioning. Like we have to give it water and food and sunshine and fertilizer, right? So those were the kinds of investments that you now had to shift into making. And you had to be almost like become smarter in a different way.
Absolutely. Like I absolutely had to become more business savvy.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So what do you think the difference is between throwing, this is actually a great segue, be more business savvy. So sometimes I see people just sort of throwing money at problems versus investing strategically. Can you think of any, like, what have been some strategic investments that you've made probably versus just throwing money at a problem? I don't know. Speak to that. What comes to mind when you think about that?
I think this is so good because I've definitely done both. I think the throwing money at things is almost like a knee jerk reaction to a problem that you're having or a situation that you're in. You're having a knee jerk reaction, and I can solve this by quickly doing this. But in reality, you don't want to continue to have the same problem. So to be more strategic in your business, you have to kind of sit down and think about what your problems are. But for me, I've had multiple coaches. And for me, having more brain power and being able to I'm going to use your words, Andrea, just because I think that they really align with me and my business, is having that board of advisors to help you think more long term, because you're going to get thrown problems every day as a business owner. And so I want to have the skill set and the ability to think beyond just the problems that I'm being thrown on a daily basis. I want more strategic thinking, and I want more long-term thinking. And honestly, like I could keep going, but I want like systems so that I'm not the only one dealing with this on a daily basis. And my skill set when I first started my business, it was me doing everything.
Yep.
I was handling everything. I was handling all of the problems.
So when you first started your business, you were doing everything.
Yeah.
Right. And actually, I think at that point, tell me if I'm wrong, you invested in some coaching or courses, something that was very salon specific that helped you develop some systems that you 100% needed, right? You 100% needed that. Okay. So Laura got the systems, I'm going to call it like under control, which we could laugh about because sometimes nothing feels under control, but okay, totally. Under control. And then I think when I met you, you were kind of at a place like, okay, check. Things are running. Nothing's broken. Okay. I always like to say that, like, nothing's really going wrong. But now what we had to invest in is growing your own capacity and ability to think beyond today and the daily operations. We have to start now creating some space for you to be more strategic because, I mean, I don't think it's any secret. You want to create more salons and you want to create education programs and you want to kind of get to that next level. So I think let's share with the audience. So the example of the cancel people. Okay.
Oh,
People
yeah.
canceling. All right. So here's an example, what I think probably exemplifies what you're talking about. So in the last, I'm going to say like 3 or 4 months, Laura and I have had multiple conversations about how to handle no shows or cancelers or reschedules. So people have appointments and then 10 minutes before they tell you they can't come because, I don't know, it's raining, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
X, Y, and Z.
So Laura does have a policy in place as to how that should be handled. However, there's always exceptions and there's always people that are trying to be like, well, I mean, this was my first time, right? So I'll remember where I was actually when I was answering some of your questions about this. Laura's like, I'm tired of this. My admin keeps coming to me and saying, Susie is complaining that she doesn't want to pay the fee that's associated with being a no-show or a canceler or whatever. And we talked through that and we kind of helped Susie, the admin person, come up with some better strategies around it. But recently, what have you done? Share with our listeners.
So, yes, during our coaching calls, we were talking about taking larger leaps in our business. And immediately I was like, I'm done answering any cancellation policy. It is a massive drain on my energy and truly an unnecessary one for me to take on. And it hit me in that phone call. I'm no longer the one to hear about these. And my admin now handles them solely.
Okay, so Laura took steps, right? We talked about the policy. We gave the admin some language, right? But she was still dealing with these things.
Yeah.
And then I challenged her in this coaching call, what would be, instead of small steps, what if we took a leap? And all of a sudden your face went, I am 100% out of all of these discussions.
Yeah.
Right? So there's like an example. So now that she's 100% out of those discussions, it frees her up to think about lots of better and more exciting things. So I think there's an example, listeners, of you just need you need a thought partner, you need a board of directors, and when you make investments in coaching or other things, like that's what they should be creating for you. Fair? Fair.
More
Okay.
than fair. It is beyond, it's far beyond even the small things. I think having someone to talk to, especially someone like you, Andrea, truly it's gives me power to do what I want to do, to help bring to life the business that I want to have and the business that I want to have in the future. Even to bring it back a little bit as to like why I started coaching with you. I had another salon based coach, which was great because I needed to set up these very specific salon systems and have this like very specific salon foundation. And so that was it was fantastic.
That was great in that it fit exactly where you were at that time. You
at
totally
that moment.
Needed that. Yep.
Exactly. And I think as your business evolves, my needs evolved, and I couldn't, again, like even the person I was with as a rental salon owner, and then the person I was as a commission salon owner with one, and now I'm going to two. And as my business is evolving and my vision is growing larger, I couldn't do the same things I was doing, even as a successful one location salon owner. I can't be that. The person that got me there can't be the person that gets me to this next point.
Yep.
And then I can't be the same person that gets me to the next point. And so I think that is the investment that's like worth making, is to be able to have people or a program or whatever the case may be to allow you to grow and evolve as your business grows and evolves, because you can't be the same person you were when you started or who you were in the middle even.
Right. You can't be the same person. You're a different version of you. You're a different version of you. So, this decision that Laura made, this like $30,000 decision to invest in coaching, okay, really was what marked a new chapter for you. And I think, is that like, so
absolutely fair.
So every time you invest, it does move you along through the chapters. And I think sometimes the size of the investment in terms of dollars actually reflects the growth potential.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I've seen this in my own business. I invest $1,000 in something, okay, and it helps me solve a problem or moves me a little bit further, right? It helps me take a next step. But when I invest $30,000 or $40,000 in something, I don't just take steps, I take leaps.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it also makes you feel different, right?
Yeah,
you feel different?
I have a major commitment to my business and my business's growth. And even if my vision evolves over my coaching period, I have a commitment to growing and bettering my business. And it's a pretty solid commitment based off of the financial commitment and the time commitment that I'm putting into it. So it strengthens it.
It strengthens the commitment. I think that's a great way to put it. So, all right. So if we think about investments, I think there are tangible outcomes, right? There's like things that we could put on paper that are outcomes. Like you've seen your revenue grow, right? You've seen your revenue. Your client base has grown. You just told me how Belmont surpassed Arlington there that was so awesome.
Yes.
Okay. That only took, how many months in are we here?
11. We're 11 months in.
All right. So did you like celebrate that?
No.
Okay. Explain to the listeners what we should be celebrating.
I did tell my husband.
Okay, she told her husband. What you told me, but we need to have like a real celebration for this.
I know, it really, because it's how it should be, because Belmont is bigger than Arlington location. So this is the trajectory that needed to happen. And no, we definitely have had some like wins along the way. And it is, we're under a year in, and we're hitting, like, our payroll margins are good, and our revenue is growing, and we finally surpassed, like, my bigger salon finally surpassed my smaller salon in payroll, which is like, I paid more in payroll, which sounds, why do you want to pay more in payroll? But I want to, because that means we had more in revenue.
Right.
Yeah.
There's correlation there. So her smaller salon, which was salon number 1, for the first,
which is a powerhouse salon,
for how small, right?
Yeah.
I have been there. If anyone needs any salon services in Arlington, Massachusetts, or in Belmont, go see Laura. Yeah. So, but when we started working together, you just said, I got to get this Belmont up and going. Yeah. I got to get, right? That was every day. Like, that was the
really
thing.
Stressed. Yes.
Look at this. Okay. So there's real tangible outcomes, revenue, client base. You've gotten some better systems in place, right?
Yes.
And team dynamics, that's a tangible thing that's happened, right? All right. And then I think there's these intangible outcomes that happen when people make big, significant investments. There are 3 things that I've seen, and I want you to kind of speak to them. I feel like you've gotten way more confident in your decision making.
Yes.
Okay. Not that you weren't confident before. That's not to say that. But tell me what you think.
I agree. And I think one of the biggest things, and especially in regards to the decision making, is as we grow, I can't and don't want to have all the control over the decision making. I made the decision to allow others to make the decision, and the confidence that I was given to allow others to make the decision has really helped me. And even because when you're small, you can make all the decisions, and it can kind of drive you crazy, but you can. And you don't realize, like, how that can kind of hinder you and hinder your business and bottleneck it. So, and it might not be perfect. Like, everyone's decision might not be perfect, but the mission accomplished, the decision was made.
Yes, they did it in a different way. They might have done it in a slightly different way, but mission accomplished. So kind of who cares how we did it, in a sense, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that confidence leads
I've gotten a lot of confidence from that.
And I think another intangible outcome that hinges on that is you're feeling way more, I would call it, grounded in your CEO identity.
Yes.
Right? Like,
yes.
Yeah. So we talk a lot about in coaching CEO, like, you're the CEO. And I think sometimes as a small business owner, we don't feel that way because we're still the ones sweeping the floor too. Right. So when you start to allow other people to make decisions or sweep the floor, right? It gives you permission to really step into that CEO identity.
Yes, I fully agree.
Yeah. And I think another intangible I've seen is I think you've been more calm and more like you're in control and actually more excited about opportunities that have arisen.
When we first met, I couldn't have been excited about opportunities because I was too much in the weeds still. Everything, there was like, I think I was doing too much of like the smaller tasks. I've really been able to get out of some of the smaller stuff this year and build in some systems. And now, as you know, I'm feeling ready to potentially explore some more opportunities.
Yes. Yeah. And
And
that's going to
feeling
happen.
capable.
Right. Feeling capable. Right. And then you have the the other thing, not just capable, but you have the capacity to do it.
Even last night, I had a little thing. I was reached out to by this is very specific, but a hair extension company, and I have my lead stylist, who was a decision maker for me in one of my locations. I screenshotted this to her and I said, I don't have the capacity to establish a relationship with this hair extension company who we may be able to build an extension line, etc. I was like, I don't have the capacity for this, but if you have a desire, I'm happy to go down this road, but I would need you to take it over. And she said, yes, send me all the info. So that was just one example of making a decision that I'm not fully involved in, but my business can be involved in, and especially with my leader.
Yeah, I love it.
Who has the skill set to take that over.
So good. So there's both types of ROI or return on investment matter, the tangible and the intangible. I think sometimes the intangible stuff, like trusting that leader to take over that decision, surprises us the most, right? You're like, oh, what did I just do? I just handed that off. Amazing. All right. So you've said that you've told me that you need high level leaders inside your salon. But high level leaders need high capacity for risk, right?
Yes.
So what else do you think defines like next level leadership for you, actually? What would next level leadership look like for you?
Next level leadership looks like continuing to delegate.
I would say like releasing control, right? To make space, to make more impact. Okay. Delegating. Love it.
Yes. Delegating, truly getting organized with goal setting. And that's a really big one. Getting very organized with goal setting, and from a yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily standpoint, all the way down.
And that means that's going to allow Laura to stay more in that visionary seat of her business versus defaulting to like daily grind, daily doer tasks, I would say.
Yes, exactly.
And then what do you think about getting to that, like increasing your capacity for risk, becoming a higher level leader? And what do you think about the concept of normalizing like uncomfortableness, like normalizing uncomfortable growth? Do you feel like that's something that you've been doing more of?
Yes. I think I've always had a high tolerance for risk. Don't know why, but it just is as part of who I am. And I think that you have to have a tolerance for risk in order to grow and to do something big or bigger.
So if you think about it,
so many thoughts on this.
Yeah. Like a $3,000 decision gets you maybe a mile down the road, but a $30,000 decision gets you 30 miles down the road. And I think because you're taking bigger steps, right? It's a bigger risk, but you are going further than you would with the small risk, right? Like bigger risks create bigger growth, which is supported by bigger thinking. Yes.
I often think about in regards to taking to taking risk is I want to be supported in my risk. I have a little bit of a motto that I kind of follow. If it doesn't affect my health, my family's health, or the roof over my head, and I'm interested in doing this risk, then if it doesn't affect those three, there's a very good chance that I'm going to try it and try to do that.
That's so good. Say that again. Say that again. That is
If it
so
doesn't
good.
affect my health, my family's health, and having a roof over my head, and I'm really interested in doing it, but it does not affect those three, then there's a high chance that I will do that. I will try it. But I want to be, this is where I think the coaching and having a board of advisors is very, very key for me, because I grew, I'll use the word chaotically, but in the beginning, I don't want to grow chaotically in this next chapter. I want to grow with some level of peace, although you do have to have a tolerance for risk. But I think that is where my investment is lying, is in my ability to grow with some level of peace and comfort and support in my very big decisions that I would like to make in the future.
Yeah, if you take big risk and make big investments without support, I think it is going to impact your health.
Yes, I agree.
Right?
Your mental
Your
for
mental health.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes. And you have one life to live. And it's like, you have one life, and it's like, why not shoot for the stars? Like, let's have some fun.
Yeah, like this. How can we make this fun?
This is fun.
This is fun.
This is fun.
It's so
100%.
fun.
This is fun. It's fun. It's exciting. Worst case scenario, you fail and you're back to, I'm back to how I am right now.
Right. Like that's the worst case scenario.
That's not a bad place to be. That's the worst case scenario.
No.
And it's not bad.
So I'm sure someone's listening out there and they are kind of on the edge of making a bold investment in themselves or their business, but staying where they are feels kind of comfy, because nothing's wrong, right? What would you say to them? Like they're waiting to, I don't know, something to fall from the sky to say, go for it. Or they're waiting to quote unquote, be ready. Do you think you were ready for any of this? Or do you think, I don't know, what would you say to that? I'm not sure if I should do this now. I'm just not ready.
I think on the other side of you in the future, your future you is going to always be thankful that you invested in yourself. Whether or not your expectations come to fruition from whatever that risk is or that decision is, your future you is always going to thank you for moving forward.
Yep. I think 100%. 100%.
With yourself, with investing in yourself.
Yeah. And I
your
was like,
future you won't thank you for staying stagnant.
That's 100% true. Future you will not thank you. But I want to thank you as we wrap this up. I want to thank you for sharing like the honest truth and, not just about the wins, but really about the courage. We didn't even use that word, but I think it's relevant here. The courage it takes to go all in, especially when the outcome isn't guaranteed. And also notice like Laura took so many things where she went all in and she didn't have to stay all in on that particular thing forever. Like she pivoted and that was okay. It just gave her the capacity, the time, money, and energy to go all in on the next thing and take that next giant leap, right? And I think our brains want to make sure that everything is all great and it's going to stay that way forever. And what if you went in being like, I know this isn't going to be forever, but it's great for now. This is what I need now. So thank you for being here. Your story is really, I'm going to say like a gift for anyone navigating something similar. So thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Love it. All right. Where can they go find you?
Please find me on Instagram, or you can find me a little bit on TikTok, but it's Laura K_beauty, or you can find me and my whole team at Society Beauty Bar.
And even if you don't live in the Boston area, which I'm sure many of you don't, Laura, like you don't have to live there to go follow her because she shares some really good insight on being a business owner and on salon life and hair and all the things, but just being a business owner, and she's fun to follow. So
thank you.
We'll put all those links in the show notes. Thank you, listeners. I hope that if this conversation sparked something for you, it might be time to make your own version of a 30K decision. And I'd be happy to help you do that. So go follow me, find me at Andrea's with an S, links with an S.com, and book a call. That's what Laura and I did way back in 2020, 2024. But that's like having conversations. That's where your growth starts. So until next time, keep thinking big. I will see you next week.